to month 12, we did it. I know that there are quite a few of you that have contacted me that are already finished, asking for your backing sizes and your border sizes, and I will send those out. This block is composed in the center of little 9 patches. So the instructions say to cut out of your fabric 1, which is my white, is my background fabric, to cut 16 1.5 by 1.5 inch squares. And they become the little A squares here. Then they tell you to cut 4 2.5 by 3 B squares, which are these 1, 2, 3, 4. And then from each of fabric 2, 3, 7, and 8, you cut 4 1.5 by 1.5 squares, which is E, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't like sewing with little 1.5 inch patches, so what I did is I actually went ahead and made some strip sets. Even though you're only cutting 2 out of each color, it just kind of locks it in a little better that they're in strips. So I made about that long of a strip set and then cut my 2 pair of strips off, 1 pair here and 1 pair here. And the center, I needed 4 of those, so I made it about that long also and then cut 4 off. To me, that makes it a little easier to stay accurate. So we have our 4 9 patches. And then we're going to cut 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Again, little 1.5 inch squares. And then you're going to cut, again, 1.5 by 3 inch squares here. So you're going to take 2 pair of your 9 patches. You're going to sew them to the center. You're going to do the same thing down here. Sew them to your center. You're going to make this center strip, and then you're going to join them all together. So when you get this part done, it is 7.5 by 7.5. I've got it up here somewhere. I must have just been writing.
It's in the pattern.
Yeah. So you have this piece here. So the next thing you're going to do is you're going to take your B with your background, and you're going to cut for your you're going to cut 3 by 3 squares of your background 1 and 3 by 3 squares, 2 of each color, of your color coordinated. Now you're going to end up with 4 of these half square triangles. You're only going to use 3. So it's pretty simple. I joined the 2 sides to this B unit, these 2, did the same thing over here, and then made my top and my bottom. So this is what the bottom looks like. The only thing here is be sure you notice which direction your half square triangles are going. Other than that, it's quite simple. So you sew that all together, you put your side strips on, and you have your centerpiece. So again, when you're making your half square triangles, be sure that you square them up. They're going to work much better. And you can use your add a quarter to add a 1/4 inch over your center diagonal. Pretty simple. We've done quite a few half square triangles. So for this, you're going to take some Wonder Under or whatever is your favored applique fabric, and you're going to draw 5 of these little hexagons. You're going to iron them to the back of the colors of your choices. Peel the paper off, iron them to these squares here. You're going to cut 2 4.5 by 4.5 inch squares and 3 4.5 by 4.5 inch squares. Now on this, I sewed them all together. What I did is I went to the ironing board, I folded this in half, and then folded it in half again, So it gave me some places to line up my hexagons. And then the hexagon, I just ironed it in half this way so I could meet this line here, and these points met this line here, and it centered them pretty well. That's the way I figured out how to do that. So that's your hexagons. These pieces are 1 by 4.5, 1.5 by 4.5. You're going to need to cut 12 of your background 1 fabric. And then again, from fabrics 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, and 9, you're going to cut 2.5 by 4.5 inch strip. So you're going to border it by 2 of the background on each one. Looking at mine, I'm not sure that I like them turned every other way with that white. It's kind of, I don't know, it just bothers my eye. I may end up just doing them all vertical. But those go in one long strip. It's sewn to your top piece, gets sewn to this piece, and you have block 12 done. Any questions? Now this one was pretty straightforward. When I first looked at it, I went, ooh, and then I saw how they did this, and I kind of like that. That's a neat way to do the corner.
Yeah. I find I can't even look at quilt squares anymore without piecing them in the right order for
Yeah.
my brain.
So, thank you for joining this series. I really hope that everybody's skills have improved. I know mine have. I've learned a lot of things about cutting precisely, squaring up each tiny little unit as you go, because it makes such a difference that you don't have to fight to get your block together. I wasn't a big person for squaring up all along. I was like, well, when I get to my machine, I'll straighten it out, right? It really, really makes a difference to square up when you're doing something that has this many pieces. I've enjoyed it. We are going to have a get-together of some kind, and I'll let you know when that is, so that we can all show how different all our quilts are. We'll get them up all around the room, and that will be very fun. Tracy is reminding me that we are starting a pot holder series. Our first one is a very cute little lamb pot holder. And do you remember the date of that?
It is February 25th.
It is February 25th here at SewNSew. It's a Saturday. So we'd love to see you there for that. We're going to do a little easier projects this year for a while. Any block of the month, I think I'm looking at one that is applique that will be every other month, that will just not be quite as time consuming as this one. I found a couple of really cute patterns that I just think would be fun. We've all learned a lot on this one. We'll have some fun for a while. So thank you so much for joining us. Bye-bye.